I thought this was going to be just a normal taxi ride. But what happened next made me laugh, then broke my heart. You won't believe it. The funniest taxi ride that made me cry. It started as an ordinary day. I got into a taxi expecting a normal ride across the city. The driver greeted me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen and proudly announced, "Welcome to my Ferrari." I laughed, looking at the old rattling car, and said, "I think your Ferrari has asthma." He laughed so hard that he nearly forgot to start driving. Almost immediately, he turned on the radio and began singing along. Terribly. Off-key, wrong lyrics, clapping along with the music. I tried to keep a straight face, but he noticed and started singing louder, claiming, "Don't worry, the car knows the way." 30 seconds later, he completely missed the turn I had pointed out. Then his phone rang. He answered, "Yes, I'm almost there." I asked, "Almost where?" And he said, "To the airport." I tried not to laugh. "I'm not going to the airport." He slammed the brakes, chuckling, "Oops, wrong guy. But you seem nice. Let's continue." I couldn't stop laughing either. Every word I said about directions, he misheard. Turn right at the mosque somehow became a left at a bakery. He looked back at me with a grin. "Bread is more important than prayer, my friend." He pulled over at a roadside stall and bought me tea without asking. "VIP customers get tea, not water. Water is for camels," he said proudly. The tea was steaming hot, and I almost burned my tongue. He laughed heartily. "Ah, the taste of hospitality." The laughter continued for several minutes as he narrated stories about past passengers, some ridiculous, some absurdly funny. Every mishap, every wrong turn, became a comedy skit, as if life itself had turned into a sitcom. Then, for a moment, he stopped laughing. I asked him, "Why are you always so happy?" He paused, his smile softening. "Because if I'm not, my son will think life is only sadness," he said quietly. I asked him to tell me more. He shared that his son was in the hospital with a serious heart condition. The medical bills were overwhelming, so he drove 16 hours a day, trying to make ends meet. He had once been a music teacher but sold his instruments to pay for treatment. He said he told jokes, sang terribly, and exaggerated everything because laughter was the only way he could keep going without breaking down. Despite everything, he never stopped smiling. He pointed at the potholes, made jokes about street signs, mimicked other drivers, and laughed at his own mistakes. I laughed along with him, though every joke now felt bittersweet. I realized I was sharing an intimate glimpse into a man's struggle, yet he was making it feel light and entertaining, as if he didn't want the world to see the heaviness he carried. Each laugh had a hidden weight behind it. Every punchline was a shield against the reality he faced. The ride went on, and we kept talking. I asked about his dreams. He told me he loved music, that he wanted to perform again, but life had other plans. Then he leaned back, hands on the steering wheel, and said softly, "But even if I can't, I'll keep driving, keep smiling, keep making others laugh. That's enough for now." I felt a lump in my throat, realizing this man, who had spent the first half of the ride making me laugh until my stomach hurt, was teaching me a lesson about resilience, courage, and hope. By the time we reached my destination, I didn't know whether to cry or hug him. I offered to pay extra for the ride, but he refused, saying, "You already paid and you laughed with me." I thanked him, shaking his hand, knowing I'd never forget this taxi ride. The laughter, the awkward misdirections, the terrible singing, and then the quiet, heartfelt moments, all of it made the ride unforgettable. Shayukait Jodat. I stepped out of the taxi, and as the car disappeared into the traffic, I realized sometimes the funniest people are carrying the heaviest burdens, and sometimes a simple ride across the city can leave a mark on your heart forever.